An aircraft carrier is a warship that serves as a seagoing airbase, equipped with a full-length flight deck and facilities for carrying, arming, deploying, and recovering aircraft. Typically, it is the capital ship of a fleet, as it allows a naval force to project air power worldwide without depending on local bases for staging aircraft operations. Aircraft carriers are expensive to build and are critical assets. Aircraft carriers have evolved from converted cruisers to nuclear-powered warships that carry numerous fighter planes, strike aircraft, helicopters, and other types of aircraft. There is no single definition of an aircraft carrier, and modern navies use several variants of the type. These variants are sometimes categorized as subtypes of aircraft carriers, and sometimes as distinct types of naval aviation-capable ships. Aircraft carriers may be classified according to the type of aircraft they carry and their operational assignments. Admiral Sir Mark Stanhope, former head of the Royal Navy, has said that, to put it simply, countries that aspire to strategic international influence have aircraft carriers. Carriers have evolved since their inception in the early 20th century, from wooden vessels used to deploy balloons to nuclear-powered warships that carry dozens of aircraft, including fighter jets and helicopters. As of 1 January 2016, there are 37 active aircraft carriers in the world within 12 navies. The United States Navy has 10 large nuclear-powered carriers, the largest carriers in the world. The total deck space is over twice that of all other nations combined, as well as the supercarrier fleet. The U.S. Navy has 9 amphibious assault ships used primarily for helicopters. These can also carry up to 25 fighter jets, and in some cases, are as large as some other nations' fixed-wing carriers. Types of carrier. Basic types: amphibious assault ship, anti-submarine warfare carrier, balloon carrier and balloon tenders, escort carrier, fleet carrier, flight deck cruiser, helicopter carrier, light aircraft carrier, sea control ship, seaplane tender and seaplane carriers, supercarrier. By role, a fleet carrier is intended to operate with the main fleet and usually provides an offensive capability. These are the largest carriers capable of fast speeds. By comparison, escort carriers were developed to provide defense for convoys of ships. They were smaller and slower with lower numbers of aircraft carried. Most were built from mercantile hulls or, in the case of merchant aircraft carriers, were bulk cargo ships with a flight deck added on top. Light aircraft carriers were carriers that were fast enough to operate with the fleet but of smaller size with reduced aircraft capacity. Soviet aircraft carriers now in use by Russia are actually called heavy aviation cruisers. These ships, while sized in the range of large fleet carriers, were designed to deploy alone or with escorts and provide both strong defensive weaponry and heavy offensive missiles equivalent to a guided missile cruiser, in addition to supporting fighters and helicopters. By configuration, there are 4 main configurations of aircraft carrier in service in the world's navies, divided by the way that aircraft take off and land: catapult-assisted takeoff, but arrested recovery. 3 nations currently operate carriers of this type: 10 by the United States, and 1 each by France and Brazil, for a total of 12 in service. Short takeoff, but arrested recovery. These carriers are generally limited to carrying lighter fixed-wing aircraft with more limited payloads. STOBAR carrier air wings, such as the Sukhoi Su-33 and future Mikoyan MiG-29K wings of Admiral Kuznetsov, are often geared primarily towards air superiority and fleet defense roles rather than strike power projection tasks, which require heavier payloads. Currently, Russia, China, and India possess commissioned carriers of this type. Short takeoff vertical landing, limited to carrying STOVL aircraft. STOVL aircraft, such as the Harrier jump jet family and Yakovlev Yak-38, generally have very limited payloads, lower performance, and high fuel consumption when compared with conventional fixed-wing aircraft. However, a new generation of STOVL aircraft, currently consisting of the F-35B, has much improved performance. This type of aircraft carrier is in service with one for India and two for Italy. Spain also operates one amphibious assault ship as an STOVL aircraft carrier for 4 ships total in active carrier service. Thailand has one active STOVL carrier, but it no longer has any operational STOVL aircraft in inventory. Some also count the 9 U.S. amphibious assault ships in their secondary light carrier role, boosting the overall total to 14. Helicopter carrier. Helicopter carriers have a similar appearance to other aircraft carriers and may have regular fixed-wing operations. Some are designed for addition of, or may include, a ski jump ramp allowing for STOVL operations, or may have an unused ski jump installed before retirement of STOVL aircraft and repurposing. In the past, conventional carriers were converted and called commando carriers. Some helicopter carriers with a resistant flight surface can operate VTOL jets. Currently, the majority of helicopter carriers, but not all, are classified as amphibious assault ships, tasked with landing and supporting ground forces on enemy territory. The US has 9 of this type, France 3, Japan 2, the UK 1, the Republic of Korea 1 and Spain 1. The US and Spain's amphibious assault ships operate STOVL jets in normal deployment. By-size supercarrier, fleet carrier, light aircraft carrier, escort carrier. Hull type identification symbol. Several systems of identification symbol for aircraft carriers and related types of ship have been used. These include the pennant numbers used by the British Royal Navy and some Commonwealth countries. The U.S. hull classification symbols also used by NATO and some other countries, and the Canadian hull classification symbols.